In May of 1791, the nation's first president visited Charlotte on the back leg of his southern tour. In his diary, George Washington wrote, "Charlotte is a very trifling place." It wasn't a criticism, but an observation of the settlement's small size. Charlotte was home to about 100 people at that time. Washington would go on to Salisbury, then a famed stop in the Moravian settlement of Salem. Our special coverage of America's 250th birthday takes a closer look at George Washington's tour of the North Carolina Piedmont.
President Washington wanted to visit the 13 states when he took office.
He wanted that sort of political theater to let everybody know that he was in charge and happy to be there.
Of course, he knew a fair amount about Virginia, but he'd never been to the Carolinas and Georgia. And so that was all new. So this is how he put the route together, by talking to other people and getting advice and counsel. So he came down along the coastal plain, got to Savannah, and then he cut up north to Augusta, which was the capital of Georgia at that time, and came back through the Piedmont, the central part of all the state. His mindset was, man, I'm really ready to go, and he was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and preferably only staying one night in places as he went north. George Washington was nearly 60 as he made this trip, and so this was tough. And he left March 21, and he didn't get back to Philadelphia till early July. When they got to Salem in late May of 1791, they were getting near the end of the trip, and they were tired. He was really kind of happy with, I think, the simpler pleasures that he found here in Salem, the small community, small dinners. He loved the Moravian music.
When they knew he was close, they sent out trumpets and trombones. A lot of places he was met with multiple gun salutes. They welcomed him with great fanfare, just not the same kind. He toured the major buildings in town. He was particularly impressed with the waterworks. There was a gravity-fed water system.
Well, he was fascinated, I think, by the Moravian community. You know, Washington, being the soldier that he was, liked order and unity. He liked that very much throughout his life, and so he found that here.
He invited certain Moravian dignitaries to dine with him, and when he decided to spend another night, he specifically requested more music.
He left early once again and wound up heading to Dobson's Tavern in present-day Kernersville. And Dobson's was thought to be one of the better taverns on the road. So many taverns and inns were not good. Washington often used the term indifferent, which we think of meaning so-so, but I think he meant bad in his era, indifferent. And he did not say that was an indifferent meal at Dobson.
His next stop was Guilford Courthouse, and of course, we were defeated at Guilford Courthouse, but it was a huge loss for Cornwallis, even though they technically won.
He also was very fond of Nathaniel Greene. It just meant a lot to him just to, I think, see the places. It was almost a thing of reverence.
Just like today, when a politician visits a place, it makes you feel good about the fact that they consider your place important enough to see.
If you look back at Washington's Southern tour, you have to be impressed that he did it, because the tour itself was, he had an odometer on his carriage. So it was right at 1,900 miles round trip, over awful roads, unsure where you're staying some nights. There's an expression that I refer to in my book, to see and be seen. And so Washington saw, and then he was seen, and I think both were important.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.